I came across this quote that kind of sums it up, and I'll just like ask you this straight up, because this is the question that I think is the most important to answer. This quote from Mary Oliver, which is really simple. She said, "What do you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? What do you plan to do?" And all of us are kind of, well, I don't know that for certain, but from what I gather in conversations, that's the biggest question that we're all asking. It's like, what do I do with my life? Basketball, we're sort of, for the most part, transitioning out of basketball or eyeing a transition if it hasn't happened already. And looking out at the world and corporate society and the pressures of family and just the world at large, like get a job, make money. This is how humans live, so you've got to start doing it. And what I'm asking, or what I'm doing here, is redirecting the question back to you. Not what does the world say and our family say, but what do you want to do with your life? And for most of my 20s, I would say, I guess I was like, from the time I was, yeah, it's all of my 20s, from 20 until 30, exactly. I was on this ongoing search for what the purpose of my life was. And I'll share more about the specifics of that and things I haven't shared before as we go throughout this, but there was this constant thread of like, what am I really meant to do? What am I really meant to do? Because I came out of basketball, that was my obsession, and then suddenly it wasn't. And then I was into training. Like, well, am I supposed to be like a power lifter or a bodybuilder? And I was like doing all this heavy weightlifting, and well, that's not really it. Maybe I'll train athletes. And then, well, that's part of it, but it's not really it. Start EGT, get into business. This is really, but that's not really it. And I went through all of these iterations, and in 2014, elite guard training, I was 23 at the time. It's early 2014, and EGT had done its biggest month in revenue ever. And at that age, I have suddenly more money than I possibly know what to do with. I'm like, okay, I'm good there. I'm not working much. I'm sending like an email a day. For those of you that remember, like I'd write a daily email, answer some emails, and that was it. I wasn't really doing much. It was an hour a day at a coffee shop somewhere I would work, and then I just didn't have anything else to do. And I had this amazing group of friends who would all come party at my house in the evenings, and this girlfriend, and I had all the stuff, that I thought I wanted and set out to get. And I was standing in my mom's kitchen after we had dinner one night, and somehow this conversation got started about are you happy with all this? I hope you're happy. I hope you're proud of what you've done. And it, for some reason, what she said struck me, and I started crying. I was like, none of this means anything to me. And that happened when we were making the most money, when I was the most successful, when I had all the stuff. And I was suddenly it just hit me none of this matters. And that's not to say that you shouldn't care about money at all or fret. It's not that at all. It was that there was this deeper thing that I was looking for. What am I really meant to do? And that wasn't it. And so shortly after, I think it was within a week or something, I got on a plane with a backpack, everything in there, a laptop, my passport, a few pairs of clothes, and then flew to Rio de Janeiro and started traveling all over the world for the next 5 years and learning from various teachers and just having experiences, basically. And the entire thing, this thread throughout the entire process, was, what am I meant to do with my life? What am I meant to do? And I'll share now the first iteration anyway. The words may change of what the 9th law is, but I've come to feel that discovering what you're truly born to do is when the potential of life finally opens. And so the way that I word the ninth law, it's the law of purpose, which states that the potential of life opens when you discover what you're born to do. Or said it in an even more direct way, you could say the mission of life is to discover what you're born to do. And the difference, though, the sort of subtle distinction here is that I'm not saying discover what you want to do or what you think you want to do. It's what are you actually born to do? And my central thesis in this work is that each of us has something that we most essentially are that wants to be expressed. And society comes in, and cultural conditioning comes in, and the opinions of other people comes in, and suddenly that what we most essentially are that wants to be expressed, that gets obstructed and blocked, and we can't see it anymore. There's this fog and this haze, and there's walls in front of it, and we're like, well, I don't know what I don't know. What is it? Like, I want to make money, but I don't want to do it in that way. My parents want me to go to university. They want me to, not that university is bad or anything, but just this is what people do. And next thing you know, I was speaking with my dad, who's now in his mid-60s, and has been working in real estate his whole life, and he hates real estate. He's been working in real estate, I think, it's like 35 years or something now. And he's afraid to leave real estate because he's got enough money, he doesn't need to work, but he's afraid to leave real estate because he just can't answer that question. What do I want to do? What am I born to do? So if there's one wish that I have for this retreat and for all of this work actually, is that I can provide you with a reliable map for finding what it is that you're born to do, and to touch into that essential nature of what you really are, actually, fundamentally, at the deepest part of you, what you most essentially are, and give you practices that will unlock that and unblock it and allow it to be expressed in the world. And so that's kind of why we have all of these photos here, because these are individuals who, in my view anyway, have done that to various degrees, some more than others, but each of them are like really expressing what they were born to do. And the trick, I guess, with all of this, and the reason this is so hard, and the reason why so few people in the world have discovered this within themselves, is because, first of all, there's no map. There's and I'm going to offer you one, but ultimately every single person, well, I'll say it this way, there are no copies in nature. Everything is completely unique. Like that old cheesy metaphor of like every snowflake is unique and different, that's actually true because nature doesn't copy itself. So each of you has something inside of you that has never been done before in the way that you were born to do it. And my sort of grand vision for the world is that every single individual is expressing what they most essentially are. And I'm going to offer you a map for getting there. Not to say that like you leave this retreat and suddenly I have like my whole life figured out. Of course not. It took me 10 years, and I'll share exactly how I came to it. But I'll offer you the map with the caveat being, and the title actually of this session that came to mind was The Pathless Path. Because each of us are on this path that has no trail. If it's this old, we've all heard the old Joseph Campbell quote probably, that you enter the forest at the darkest point, and anywhere there's a path already, you know that it's not your path, because that path has been walked by somebody else. And so you have to go off-road and carve your own path. And I can share clues and things to look for and stages as the path unfolds that you will likely experience. But ultimately the path will be exactly your own.